Isabelle Moreau stands in Studio A of the New York Metropolitan Ballet Company, watching 25 aspiring dancers audition for the corps de ballet. She's been watching auditions like this for 153 years. The faces change, the technique evolves, but the hope in their eyes remains constant. She looks 32. She's actually 187 years old. Born in 1838 in Paris, transformed into a vampire in 1872 at age 34, and has been dancing ever since. 153 years of ballet. She danced through the Romantic era, witnessed the birth of Russian Imperial Ballet, performed during the Diaghilev Revolution, survived the modernist movement, adapted to neoclassicism, and now teaches contemporary dancers in 2025. She's danced with legends who are now dead. She's seen techniques evolve from romantic softness to classical precision to modern athleticism. She's performed in theaters that no longer exist, in styles that are forgotten, in productions that live only in dusty archives. And she's tired. So profoundly tired. Not of dancing, never of dancing. Dancing is the only thing that makes immortality bearable. The only art form that requires your entire body, that demands perfection in every movement, that transforms suffering into beauty. She could never tire of that. But she's tired of watching dancers age, watching their bodies break down, their careers end, their dreams fade as mortality catches up with them. She's tired of being the only one in the room who won't retire at 40, who won't develop arthritis, who won't watch her technique deteriorate with age. She's the perfect dancer. And perfection, she's learned, is a curse. Today's auditions are standard. Good dancers, some with potential. Until number 17 steps onto the floor. His name is Marcus Chen. 25 years old according to his application. Trained at SAB, danced with Pacific Northwest Ballet for 2 years, moving to New York for better opportunities. Height, 5 feet 10 inches. Weight, 165 pounds. Technical scores, excellent across the board. But Isabelle doesn't care about any of that. She cares about the way he moves. Marcus dances the variation from Apollo, neoclassical Balanchine, demanding absolute precision and line. And his line is extraordinary. Not just good. Extraordinary. The kind of natural extension and placement that can't be taught, only refined. He's not perfect. His turns are slightly off-center. His jumps don't have the height of some other auditioners. But his artistry, the way he phrases movement, the way he embodies the music, the way every gesture means something, that's rare. Vanishingly rare. Isabelle has seen thousands of dancers in 153 years. Maybe 20 had this quality. And Marcus Chen, 25 years old, dancing in a New York studio in 2025, has it. After his variation, Isabelle does something she never does. She stands. Mr. Chen, would you wait after auditions? I'd like to speak with you. Marcus looks startled but nods. The other dancers glance at each other. It's unusual for Isabelle Moreau, the company's principal teacher and unofficial artistic consultant, to single out an auditioner. 2 hours later, after the last dancer has left, Marcus returns to Studio A. Isabelle is at the bar, doing plies. At 67, most dancers can barely look. At 187, Isabelle's turnout is perfect. You wanted to see me, Ms. Moreau? Call me Isabelle. Yes. I wanted to ask you about your training. You studied at SAB. Yes, from age 12 to 18. Then PNB for 2 years. Your port de bras is unusual. Very French. SAB is more Balanchine method. Russian. Influenced. Where did you learn the French style? Marcus seemed surprised she noticed. My first teacher. She was old-school French. She's the one who made me love ballet. She died when I was 11. After that, I went to SAB, but her influence stuck. What was her name? Madame Leclerc. She taught in a tiny studio in Seattle. She was probably 90. When she died, still demonstrating combinations. Isabelle feels something shift in her chest. Madame Leclerc. She knew a dancer by that name in the 1950s. Could it be? Marcus, I'm going to be blunt. You're good. Very good. Better than most of the dancers who auditioned today. But you're 25. That's late to join a major company. Most dancers are in the corps by 20, soloists by 25. You're starting where others are already established. I know. I'm behind. You are. But you also have something rare. A quality that can't be taught. Artistry. If you're willing to work, really work, harder than you've ever worked, I think I can get you to principal level in 5 years. Marcus's eyes widen. Principal? In 5 years? That's impossible. For most dancers, yes. For you, maybe not. But it requires total commitment. Private coaching with me. 6 days a week. 4 hours a day on top of company. Rehearsals. It will destroy your body. You'll be in constant pain. Your social life will die. You'll give up everything for ballet. I've already given up everything for ballet. Not like this. What I'm offering is a compressed education. Most dancers develop over 15 years. I'm proposing 5. Your body will hate you. But if you survive, you'll be extraordinary. Why would you do this? You don't know me. Isabelle considers her answer. The truth, that she's been coaching dancers for a century and has seen hundreds of careers, that she recognizes potential like a vintner recognizes a perfect grape, that she's desperately lonely and teaching is the only way she connects with humanity anymore. Seems too raw. Because you remind me of someone I knew a long time ago. And because talent like yours deserves to be developed. Oh. Are you interested? Marcus doesn't hesitate. Yes. Absolutely yes. Good. We start tomorrow. 6 a.m. Don't be late. Marcus leaves. Isabelle returns to the bar, does a develop a la seconde, holds it at 180 degrees for 2 minutes without trembling. Her vampire body doesn't tire, doesn't strain, doesn't age. She's been doing this develop for 150 years. It's never gotten easier or harder. It's just the same. Forever the same. And now she's going to teach Marcus Chen. Watch him grow, develop, become the dancer he's meant to be. And then watch his body break down, watch his career end. Watch mortality steal his gift. It's what always happens. It's what she can't stop. It's the curse of being an immortal dancer. You perfect your art while everyone around you deteriorates. But maybe this time will be different, Isabelle tells herself. Maybe Marcus will be the one who makes it all the way. Maybe his 5 years will be worth the inevitable heartbreak at the end. She knows she's lying to herself. She's known Marcus for 20 minutes and she's already invested, already imagining his career, his potential, his future, already setting herself up for loss. Again. But she can't help it. Teaching is the only thing that makes immortality bearable. Even when it breaks her heart. Even when she knows how it ends. So tomorrow at 6 a.m., Isabelle Moreau will begin teaching Marcus Chen. And for 5 years, they'll dance together. And she'll pretend that this time won't end the way it always does, with her immortal and alone, and him broken by time. Marcus Chen arrives at 5:55 a.m. on his first day. Studio A is empty except for Isabelle, who's already warmed up, stretching in the center. You're early, Isabelle observes. Didn't want to be late. Good. We'll start with bar. I want to see your current technique, find the gaps. For the next 2 hours, Isabelle puts Marcus through the most detailed bar he's ever experienced. She corrects everything. The angle of his foot in tendu, the rotation of his hip in rond de jambe, the placement of his shoulders in porte de bras. Things so minute he didn't know they could be wrong. Your turnout is natural but undisciplined, Isabelle says, adjusting his leg in. Develop devant. You're using your knees instead of your hips. That'll destroy your knees by 35. We fix that now. How do you see these things? I've been teaching a very long time. I've seen every possible misalignment. How long? Isabelle pauses. Longer than you'd believe. Now, again. Develop devant. Hip rotation first. They work on one exercise for 40 minutes. Just develop devant. 40 minutes. Of the same movement, refined and refined and refined until Marcus's leg is shaking and Isabelle finally nods approval. That's 70% correct. We'll get it to 90 by next month. Only 70? Perfection takes time. Even for people with your talent. This becomes their routine. Every morning, 6 to 10 a.m. Bar for 2 hours. Center. Work for 2 hours. Isabelle breaks down every movement to its atomic components. Rebuilds Marcus's technique from the ground up. It's brutal. Marcus has been dancing since age 8, 17 years of training. Isabelle is essentially telling him that 70% of what he learned was wrong or incomplete. I feel like I'm learning to walk again, Marcus complains in week 3. You are. Correctly this time. Did you learn this way? No. I learned wrong for years, developed bad habits, spent decades unlearning. You're fortunate. You get to learn correctly from the start. How old were you when you started ballet? Isabelle considers. The truth, 8 years old in 1846 in Paris, would raise questions. Young. Very young. It was a different era. What was it like? Ballet back then. Different. Technique was less codified. More emphasis on artistry, less on athletics. Women danced on point. Men barely jumped. Nothing like now. You make it sound like you were there. I've read extensively about ballet history. Family tradition. My great-great-grandmother was a dancer. Her great-great-grandmother was a seamstress. Isabelle was the dancer. But she's learned to attribute her own memories to fictional ancestors. By month 4, Marcus is changing. His technique is sharper. His lines are cleaner. His porte de bras has the French quality that Isabelle has been drilling into him. Fluid, expressive, each gesture meaning something. You're improving, Isabelle says one morning. Faster than expected. Because you're a good teacher. Because you're a good student. And because you have natural gifts. Your extension. Your musicality, those can't be taught. What about you? You're still dancing. You must be, what, 50? 55? And you move like you're 20. Isabelle freezes at the bar. 55. She looks 32 because she's been 34 for 153 years. I take care of myself. Pilates. Physical therapy. Good genes. You're more flexible than anyone I've ever seen. More than dancers half your age. Ballet keeps you young. But Marcus is right to be surprised. Isabelle's flexibility hasn't diminished in 150 years. Her turnout is exactly what it was in 1872. Her arabesques are still at 180 degrees. Her body hasn't declined because it can't decline. Vampire biology doesn't age. She's the same dancer she was at 34. Will be the same dancer at 234. Forever frozen at her physical peak. It's both a gift and a curse. In month 6, Marcus performs in his first company production, Corps de Ballet in Swan Lake. Isabelle watches from the wings. He's good. Not perfect, but good. His technique is solid now, his artistry developing. She can see the dancer he's becoming. After the performance, Marcus finds her backstage. How was I? Adequate. Just adequate. You're still building. Don't expect perfection yet. Will I ever be perfect? Isabelle looks at him, 25 years old, sweating, exhausted, hopeful. No. One is perfect. But you can be excellent. That's what we're working toward. Are you perfect? I've had more time to practice. Show me. Dance something, please. I've never seen you perform. Just in class. Isabelle shouldn't reveal how good she actually is. But Marcus's question touches something in her, the performer who's been hiding for decades. All right. One variation. Then you go home and rest. She changes into point shoes, custom-made, identical to the ones she's been wearing since the 1880s when point work became standard. Steps onto the stage. Now empty. And dances the variation from Giselle Act 2, The Mad Scene. The same variation she performed in 1870 with the Paris Opera, in 1895 in St. Petersburg, in 1920 with Diaghilev's Ballet Russes, in 1955 at Covent Garden. She's danced this variation thousands of times across 150 years. And tonight, she dances it perfectly. Every step exactly placed. Every gesture precise. Every moment imbued with the character's heartbreak and madness. When she finishes, Marcus is staring. That was, Isabelle, that was perfect. Literally perfect. I've never seen anyone dance like that. How? Practice. A lot of practice. But you weren't even breathing hard. You didn't break a sweat. That variation is exhausting. Because vampire bodies don't tire. Because she could dance that variation 20 times in a row without strain. Because she's not human anymore and hasn't been for 153 years. I'm very well conditioned. Now go home. Rest. We have class tomorrow. Marcus leaves. Isabelle sits alone on the empty stage, still in her point shoes, and thinks, I shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have revealed my ability. Now he'll ask questions. Now he'll wonder. But God, it felt good. To dance fully. To stop holding back. To show someone what 150 years of technique looks like. She hasn't performed publicly in 20 years. Too risky. People would notice she doesn't age between productions. But dancing for Marcus, just once, reminded her. What she is beneath the teacher, beneath the immortality, beneath the careful facade. She's a dancer. The best dancer in the world. Not because of talent, though she had that, but because she's had 153 years to perfect her art. And Marcus, in 5 years or 10 or 20, will never be as good. Because he's mortal. Because his body will break. Because time will steal his gift. That's the tragedy of being an immortal artist. You achieve perfection while everyone around you strives and fails and dies trying. Year 2 is when things change. Not gradually. Suddenly. Marcus is 26 now. His technique has improved dramatically. In June 2026, he's promoted to soloist, a year earlier than Isabelle predicted. He performs Albrecht in Giselle, Basilio in Don Quixote, the bronze idol in La Bayadere. He's becoming the dancer Isabelle knew he could be. But he's also becoming something else, a presence in her life. Their morning sessions have evolved from pure technique to conversation. They talk about ballet, history, about interpretation, about the evolution of style. And Marcus asks questions about Isabelle's past, about her training, about how she knows so much. You talk about Diaghilev like you knew him, Marcus observes one morning. I've studied his work extensively. No, it's more than that. You describe his rehearsals, specific details that aren't in books, like you were there. Isabelle's hands still on the bar. I had teachers who worked with Diaghilev. They told me stories. What were their names? It was a long time ago. Isabelle, you're hiding something. I don't know what. But there's something about you that doesn't add up. You're supposedly in your 50s, but you move like you're 20. You know things about ballet history that aren't documented. You have this depth, like you've lived more than one life. I've just been dancing a very long time. How long? Marcus, drop it. Why won't you tell me? What are you hiding? Isabelle spins to face him. Because some things are better left unknown. Now, develop devant. Repeat. Marcus doesn't push. But the question hangs between them. In December 2026, the company performs the Nutcracker. Marcus dances the Cavalier. During the pas de deux with Marie, the Sugar Plum Fairy, Isabelle watches from the wings and feels something unexpected, jealousy. Not professional jealousy. She doesn't care about Marie's dancing. Personal jealousy. The way Marcus holds Marie. The way he looks at her. The intimacy of partnering. Isabelle hasn't felt jealous in decades. Maybe a century. She's long past caring about romantic entanglements. But watching Marcus dance with someone else triggers something she thought she'd buried. Attraction. She's attracted to Marcus Chen, her student. Immortal, 35 years her junior. Or 162 years her junior if you count her actual age. A man whose career she's guiding, whose trust she holds, whose future she's shaping. This is problematic. Deeply problematic. After the performance, Isabelle doesn't congratulate Marcus. She goes home to her apartment in the West Village, the same apartment she's lived in since 1972, owned under various fake names. Sits in her dance studio, the converted living room with bars and mirrors. Tries to process what she's feeling. She hasn't been attracted to anyone in 50 years. The last was another vampire. A brief affair that ended badly. Before that, a human dancer in the 1940s that she loved and watched age while she didn't. Before that, scattered relationships across decades that all ended the same way, with death or departure or the unbearable gap between immortal and mortal. She stopped trying, stopped allowing herself to feel, channeled everything into dance and teaching. It was safer, lonelier, but safer. And now Marcus Chen, 26 years old, brilliant, mortal, is breaking through those defenses. Not because he's trying to, just because he exists. Because his talent makes her remember why she loved ballet in the first place. Because his dedication mirrors her own. Because when he dances, she sees what she used to be. Before immortality made her perfect and perfection made her isolated. This can't happen. She won't allow it. She's his teacher. He's her student. The power dynamic is wrong. And beyond that, he's mortal. He'll age. His career will end. His body will fail. And she'll still be 32, still dancing, still trapped in eternal youth. She's lived this tragedy before. She won't live it again. The next morning, Isabelle is colder, more formal. She corrects Marcus's technique without the usual warmth. Doesn't engage in conversation. Keeps everything strictly professional. Marcus notices. Did I do something wrong? No. Just maintaining appropriate boundaries. We've been working together for over a year. Since when do we have boundary issues? Since I realized we're getting too familiar. Teacher-student relationship should be professional. Isabelle. That's Ms. Moreau in class. Now, tendu devant. Again. Marcus is hurt. She can see it. But it's necessary. Distance is necessary. For both of them. The coldness lasts 3 weeks. Until New Year's Eve 2026. The company has a party. Isabelle usually doesn't attend. Too many questions about her personal life, too many risks of saying something that reveals her age. But this year, the artistic director insists. You never socialize, Isabelle. Come for an hour. Be human. If only he knew how ironic that statement is. Isabelle attends. Wears a black dress from the 1960s that's back in style, fashion. She's learned, is cyclical. Stands in the corner, drinking wine she can't taste. Watching dancers celebrate. Marcus arrives with Marie. They're laughing. Comfortable. Maybe together? Isabelle feels that jealousy again. Pushes it down. At midnight, everyone toasts. Marcus crosses the room, approaches Isabelle. Happy New Year, Ms. Moreau. Happy New Year, Marcus. Can we talk? Outside. They step onto the studio's roof. Manhattan glitters below them. Isabelle has watched this city change for 50 years. Used to be factories here. Now it's all glass and steel. I want to apologize, Marcus says, for whatever I did to upset you. The last 3 weeks have been strange, distant. I don't know what changed, but I miss how we were before. We were getting too close. That's inappropriate. Why? Because you're my teacher? Isabelle, you're also my friend. The only person who understands what I'm trying to do with my dancing. You can't just cut me off. I'm maintaining professional boundaries. Bullshit. You're scared. Isabelle turns to face him. Excuse me. You're scared of connection. I don't know why. But every time we get close to something real, you pull away. You hide behind formality and distance and this facade of perfection. But Isabelle, you're not perfect. You're lonely. I can see it. You don't know anything about me. I know you've been dancing your whole life. I know you're the best technical dancer I've ever seen. I know you care about teaching more than performing. And I know you're hiding something. Something big. Something that makes you keep everyone at arm's length. Marcus. Just tell me. Whatever it is. Trust me with it. Isabelle looks at him, 26 years old, earnest, talented, mortal, and thinks. If I tell him, everything changes. If I tell him I'm a vampire, that I've been dancing for 150 years, that I've trained hundreds of dancers and watched them all age and die while I stayed frozen, he'll either think I'm insane, or he'll be horrified. But she's so tired of lying. So tired of hiding. So tired of being alone. I'm 187 years old, Isabelle says quietly. I was born in 1838 in Paris. Transformed into a vampire in 1872 at age 34. I've been dancing ever since. 153 years of ballet. That's why I know things that aren't in books. That's why I move like I'm 20. That's why I'm hiding. I'm immortal, Marcus. I don't age. I don't die. And everyone I've ever trained has grown old and left me behind. Silence. Marcus stares at her. You're serious. Completely. Prove it. Isabelle pulls out her phone. She hates modern technology but has adapted. Shows him photographs. Her in 1920s Paris with Diaghilev's dancers. Her in 1950s London at Covent Garden. Her in 1980s New York at opening night of ABT. Same face. Same body. Different eras. Holy shit, Marcus whispers. Holy shit indeed. You're really a vampire. Yes. And you've been dancing for 150 years. Yes. That's why you're so good. You've had 150 years to practice. Yes. Marcus sits down on the roof, processing. Isabelle waits. This is the moment. He'll either accept it or run. Most people run. This explains so much, Marcus finally says. The way you teach. The depth of your knowledge. The perfection. You're not just a good dancer. You're the ultimate dancer. The one with infinite time to perfect the art. Yes. Do you drink blood? From blood banks. I don't hunt humans. Haven't in over a century. Do you sleep? Not really. I rest, but I don't need sleep like humans do. Can you go in the sun? Yes, but it's uncomfortable. I usually avoid it. Will you live forever? Unless something kills me, yes. Marcus looks up at her. That sounds lonely. And there it is. The truth Isabelle has been avoiding for decades. It is. Profoundly lonely. Everyone I've ever cared about has aged and died while I've stayed the same. Every student I've trained has retired while I keep dancing. I'm trapped in eternal youth, Marcus. It's not a gift. It's a curse. Then why keep dancing? Because it's the only thing that makes immortality bearable. When I'm dancing, I'm not thinking about time or loss or the fact that I've outlived everyone I've ever loved. I'm just moving, existing in the moment. It's the only time I feel alive. Marcus stands, moves closer. I'm glad you told me. Why? Because now I understand. And because you don't have to be alone anymore. At least, not for the next few years. Marcus, you'll age. Your career will end. In 20 years, you'll retire and I'll still be dancing. This doesn't change the fundamental problem. Maybe not. But right now, in this moment, you're not alone. So let's focus on that. He takes her hand. Isabelle, 187 years old, who has loved and lost across nearly 2 centuries, feels something she thought she'd forgotten. Hope. Maybe this time will be different. Maybe Marcus understanding what she is will change things. Maybe. No. She stops herself. Hope is dangerous. Hope leads to attachment. Attachment leads to loss. She's learned this lesson too many times. But looking at Marcus, she allows herself a small amount of hope anyway. Just a little. Just enough to risk trying one more time. Knowing what Isabelle is changes everything and nothing. Everything. Marcus understands now why she's so good, why she knows so much, why she keeps her distance. Nothing. The training continues the same. Morning sessions. Technique refinement. Performance coaching. But there's an intimacy now. A truth between them. In March 2027, Marcus is promoted to principal dancer, unprecedented for someone who's only been with the company for 2 years. He dances Romeo in Romeo and Juliet, Solar in La Bayadere, the Prince in Swan Lake. He's 27. His prime years as a dancer are just beginning. And Isabelle, watching from the wings, feels pride mixed with dread, because she knows, with 187 years of experience, that this is temporary, that his body will peak around 30, decline by 35, be finished by 42. 15 years. That's all he has left at this level. Maybe less if he gets injured. You're incredible, Isabelle tells him after a particularly brilliant Romeo performance. I learned from the best. You learned from yourself. I just refined what was already there. Isabelle, you made me. Admit it. She can't. Because admitting that means admitting how much he's come to mean to her. How his success feels like her success. How watching him dance gives her more joy than dancing herself anymore. In June 2027, on Marcus's 27th birthday, Isabelle gives him a gift, a first edition of Carlo Blasius's 1830 treatise on ballet technique. My great-great-grandmother gave this to me, she lies. She bought it herself in 1850. It's her copy from when she was 12. This must be worth a fortune. Knowledge is worth more than money. Marcus hugs her. It's brief but genuine. And Isabelle feels his warmth, human warmth. Body heat she lost 150 years ago, and realizes she's in love with him. Not student-teacher admiration. Not mentor pride. Love. The kind that's dangerous. The kind that ends badly. The kind she swore she'd never allow again after watching too many lovers age and die. She doesn't tell him. Can't tell him. It would be inappropriate, she's his teacher. Impossible, he's mortal, she's not. And cruel, he deserves someone who can age with him, have a normal life, give him the future she can never provide. But the feeling doesn't go away. It grows. Every morning session. Every performance. Every conversation about technique or interpretation or the history of ballet. In September 2027, Marcus starts dating another dancer, Jessica, a soloist. They're good together. Both young, both talented, both mortal. A normal relationship. Isabelle is happy for him. She tells herself she's happy for him. Tries to believe it. But watching them together, Marcus laughing with Jessica, holding her hand, kissing her backstage, feels like a knife twisting. Because that's what Marcus should have. A normal relationship with someone his own age who will age with him. Not an immortal vampire teacher who's been alive since before his great-great-grandparents were born. Do you like Jessica? Marcus asks Isabelle one morning. She's a good dancer. That's not what I asked. She seems nice. Good for you. She is. But Isabelle, sometimes I wish. He stops. Wish what? Nothing. Never mind. But Isabelle knows what he was going to say. Because she feels it too. This pull. Between them. This connection that's more than teacher-student, more than friends. Something that can't be acted on because the power dynamic is wrong and the age gap is absurd and the future is impossible. The relationship with Jessica lasts 3 months. In December 2027, they break up. Marcus won't say why, but Isabelle can guess. He's too focused on dancing, too dedicated to his career, too connected to something, someone else. After the breakup, Marcus and Isabelle start spending more time together outside of training, dinners after performances, walks through Central Park, conversations that stretch past midnight. They don't date. They're careful about that. But they're also not dating. They're in this undefined space where both of them know something is happening but neither wants to name it. On New Year's Eve 2027, they watch the ball drop from Isabelle's apartment. She's never invited a student to her private space before, too many personal items from different eras that would raise questions. But Marcus knows her secret now. Knows why she has furniture from the 1920s, photographs from the 1950s, posters from ballet productions that happened before he was born. This apartment is like a museum, Marcus observes, looking at her bookshelves. First editions from the 1800s. Programs from performances she danced in. A lifetime, multiple lifetimes, of collecting. I've accumulated a lot over the years. 187 years of accumulation. Yes. Do you ever think about what it would be like to age normally, to have a regular lifespan? Every day. Do you wish you were mortal? Isabelle considers. Sometimes. Mortality has an appeal immortality lacks. Endings. Conclusions. The knowledge that your time is limited makes it precious. For me, time is infinite. Nothing is urgent. Nothing truly ends. It's exhausting. But you've seen so much. Experienced so much. Doesn't that count for something? It counts for loneliness. Everyone I've ever loved is dead, Marcus. Everyone. My human family. My friends from the 1800s. The dancers I trained in the early 1900s. The lovers I had across decades. All gone. And I'm still here. Still dancing. Still. Frozen at 34. 32. You said you look 32. I was 34 when I was turned. But yes, I appear slightly younger. Vampire. Transformation does that. Freezes you at your physical peak, usually a few years. Younger than your actual age. Marcus moves closer. Isabelle, can I ask you something personal? More personal than, are you a vampire? Have you ever been in love? Real love. Since becoming immortal. The question hits harder than Isabelle expected. Yes. 4 times. Once in 1880 with a dancer who died of tuberculosis at 32. Once in 1920 with a composer who aged while I didn't. We lasted 15 years before he couldn't handle it anymore. Once in 1955 with another vampire. That ended badly, we were both too old. And damaged. Once in 1975 with a choreographer who died in a car accident 3 years into our relationship. And since then, nothing. 52 years of being alone. It's easier that way. Less painful when there's no one to lose. That's no way to live. It's the only way I know how to live. Marcus takes her hand. His fingers are warm against her perpetually cold skin. What if you didn't have to be alone? What if? What if what? What if we tried? You and me. Despite everything. Marcus, that's impossible. I'm your teacher. I'm 160 years older than you. You'll age and I won't. This can't work. But what if it could? For a while at least. Even if it's temporary. Even if it only lasts your 5 years or 10 years or however long my career lasts. Wouldn't it be worth it? Isabelle wants to say no. Wants to maintain boundaries. Wants to protect both of them from the inevitable heartbreak. But she's been alone for 52 years. And Marcus is here, warm and alive and offering something she thought she'd never have again. Companionship. Love. Connection. It would be complicated, Isabelle says carefully. Everything worth doing is complicated. You'll age. I won't. In 10 years, you'll be 37 and I'll still look 32. People will notice. We'll handle it. Your career will end. Mine won't. You'll retire and I'll keep dancing. That will be hard. We'll handle that too. Marcus, I've lived this before. I know how it ends. With loss and grief and regret. I'm not sure I can survive that again. Then let's make it different this time. Let's go into this knowing it's temporary. Knowing we have limited time. And let's make that time count. Isabelle looks at him, 27 years old, brilliant, mortal, and makes a decision she knows is probably a mistake but can't resist making anyway. All right. We try. But Marcus, you need to understand something. I'm immortal. Don't experience time the way you do. For you, 10 years is a significant portion of your life. For me, it's a blink. I might not love you the way you need me to. Not because I don't care, but because I've lived so long that human emotions feel muted. That's okay. Whatever you can give, I'll take. They kiss. And for Isabelle, 187 years old, it's like kissing for the first time. Like remembering what it felt like to be human. Like hope. Dangerous, foolish hope. But hope nonetheless. Being together changes everything. Not publicly, they keep their relationship private. Aware that a teacher-principal-dancer romance would cause problems in the company. But privately, Isabelle allows herself something she hasn't allowed in decades. Intimacy. Marcus moves into her apartment in March 2028. They train together in the mornings. Dance separately during company hours. Return home together at night. It's domestic. In a way Isabelle hasn't experienced since the 1970s. This is weird, Marcus says one evening. They're making dinner. He's cooking, she's Pretending to help while actually just watching. Living with someone who doesn't eat. I eat. Sort of. I can consume food, it just doesn't nourish me. But you don't need to. You only drink blood. From blood banks. Which I keep in the medical refrigerator in the basement. That's not creepy at all. They both laugh. And Isabelle realizes, this is what she missed. Not romance or passion, though they have that too, but ordinary moments. Cooking together. Laughing together. Existing in the same space without pretense. Marcus is 28 now. His dancing has reached a level Isabelle can only describe as transcendent. He's not just technically perfect, he's artistically mature, capable of conveying complex emotions through movement. When he dances Romeo, you believe he's a teenager in love. When he dances Albrecht, you believe he's destroyed by grief. When he dances Apollo, you believe he's a god. He's become one of the great dancers of his generation. Maybe one of the great dancers of any generation. And Isabelle, watching him, feels pride and terror in equal measure. Because his body is at its peak. And peaks, by definition, are followed by decline. In November 2028, Marcus injures his ankle. Not badly, a grade 2 sprain. He'll recover in 6 weeks. But it's the first real injury of his career. The first sign that his body isn't invincible. It's normal, Isabelle tells him as he ices the ankle in their apartment. All dancers get injured. You'll heal and come back stronger. What if I don't? What if this is the beginning of the end? You're 28. You have at least 10 more years at principal level. But you don't get injured. Your body doesn't break down. Because I'm not human. You are. That's not a weakness, Marcus. That's just reality. It's unfair. You get to dance forever. I get maybe 15 more years if I'm lucky. Isabelle doesn't argue because he's right. It is unfair. The universe is cruel to give some people immortality and others finite time. She would trade with him if she could give him centuries of dancing and take his limited years. But that's not how vampirism works. Marcus recovers. Returns to dancing in January 2029. But the injury has changed. Something in him made him aware of his mortality in a way he wasn't before. I want you to turn me, Marcus says one evening in February 2029. Isabelle looks up from the book she's reading, a first edition of Anna Karenina in the original Russian. What? Turn me into a vampire. I want immortality. I want to dance forever like you do. No. Why not? Because vampirism is a curse, not a gift. Because you'd be giving up your humanity. Because transformation doesn't always work. Sometimes people die in the process. Because even if you survive, you'd be frozen at 28 forever, watching everyone you know age and die while you stay the same. I won't condemn you to that. It's my choice. It's not. Because you're not thinking clearly. You're scared of your career ending. That's normal. But becoming a vampire to extend your dancing career is the worst possible reason for transformation. What about love? Is that a good reason? I want to be with you. Not just for 10 years or 20 years. Forever. Marcus, you don't know what forever means. I do. It means watching everyone you love die. It means centuries of loneliness. It means being fundamentally disconnected from humanity. You think you want that, but you don't. How do you know what I want? Because I've lived it. I've been a vampire for 156 years. I've seen what it does to people. The ones who choose transformation for love. They always come to resent it. Always. You'd hate me eventually. Maybe not in 10 years. Or 50 years. But in 100 years, you'd look back and hate me for taking your mortality. You don't know that. I do. Marcus, Please. Don't ask me to do this. Ask me for anything else. But not this. Marcus is silent for a long time. Then, fine. I won't ask again. But Isabelle, you need to understand something. I love you. I want a future with you. And without transformation, we don't have one. We have 10 years, maybe 15 if I'm lucky. With injuries. Then my career ends and you keep dancing and eventually I'll be too old and you'll still be 32 and the gap between us will be too large to cross. I know. And that doesn't bother you? It devastates me. But I'd rather have 15 years with you and then let you go than condemn you to centuries of vampirism you might regret. That's your choice. But I don't agree with it. They don't resolve the argument. It hangs between them, unfinished. Year 5 arrives. Marcus turns 29 in June 2029. They celebrate quietly. Dinner at home, champagne he drinks and she pretends to sip, cake he eats while she watches. I'm getting old, Marcus jokes. Almost 30. You're a baby. I've lived 6 Marcus lifetimes. Does that ever get weird for you? Dating someone so much younger. Constantly. You were born in 2000. I was already 162 years old. I could literally be your great-great-great-grandmother. Please don't say that while we're in bed together. They both laugh. But the joke has an edge. Because the age gap is absurd. 160 years. Isabelle has lived more than 6 times longer than Marcus. Has been alive. And yet, they work. Somehow, despite everything impossible about them, they work. In September 2029, Marcus performs Apollo Balanchine's masterwork, the role that defines neoclassical ballet. Isabelle watches from the audience instead of the wings. Wants to see him the way civilians see him, not with a teacher's critical eye. He's perfect. Not technically perfect. There's a slight wobble in his turns. His jumps aren't quite as high as they used to be. But artistically perfect. He embodies the role, becomes the god, transcends technique and achieves pure art. After the performance, Isabelle goes backstage, finds Marcus in his dressing room. You were extraordinary. Just extraordinary. Not perfect. No one is perfect, Marcus. But you were as close as a mortal can get. And you? How close to perfect are you? I had 150 years to practice. It's not the same. Marcus turns to face her. Isabelle, I've been thinking. About what you said. About transformation. About the future. Marcus. Let me finish. You're right. Asking you to turn me for my career is the wrong reason. But what if I'm asking for a different reason? What if I'm asking because I love you and I want to spend my life with you? Not just 15 years. All of it. Centuries. Whatever comes. You don't know what you're asking. I think I do. I've spent 3 years with you. I've seen your loneliness. Understand what immortality costs. And I'm telling you, I want it anyway. I want you. Anyway. Forever. Isabelle feels tears forming, something vampires can do, though rarely. Marcus, if I turn you and you regret it, I'll never forgive myself. And if you don't turn me and I grow old while you stay young, will you forgive yourself for that? The question hangs unanswered. Because Isabelle doesn't have an answer. She's spent 156 years watching lovers age and die. She's sworn she'd never turn anyone, never condemn someone else to immortality. But Marcus is different. Marcus knows what he's asking for. Marcus has seen her loneliness and still wants to join her in it. Maybe this time is different. Maybe this time, transformation is the right choice. Or maybe she's just rationalizing because she's selfish and doesn't want to lose him. I need time to think, Isabelle says. How much time? I don't know. Years, maybe. I've never done this before. Never turned anyone. The decision to make someone immortal, it's enormous. But you'll consider it? I'll consider it. They leave it there. Unresolved. Pending. Just like everything else in their impossible relationship. March 2030. Marcus is 29. Isabelle is 191. They've been together for 3 years. Marcus has been dancing at principal level for 4. He's at his absolute peak. His body will never be better than it is right now. In another year, maybe 2, decline will begin. Subtle at first, less height in his jumps, less flexibility in his extensions. But inevitable. Isabelle knows this. Has seen it 100 times with 100 dancers. The slow deterioration of the body. The gradual loss of technique. The heartbreak of a career ending. She's always watched from the outside. This time, she's living it. And it's worse than she imagined. In April 2030, Isabelle makes a decision. Tells Marcus, if you still want transformation when you turn 30, I'll do it. Marcus stares at her. Really? Really? 1 year to think about it. To be sure. If on your 30th birthday you still want immortality, I'll turn you. But Marcus, this is irreversible. Once you're a vampire, you're a vampire forever. There's no going back. No changing your mind. You need to be absolutely certain. I am certain. You think you are. But give yourself a year. Live your mortal life. Dance while your body is at its peak. And if in a year you still want this, we'll do it. The year is agonizing. Marcus continues dancing. Isabelle continues teaching. They live together, love each other, exist in this strange liminal space between mortal and immortal. And Isabelle watches Marcus carefully, looking for signs of doubt, looking for evidence that he's unsure, looking for any reason to say no when his 30th birthday arrives. But Marcus never wavers. Every time Isabelle asks, "Are you still sure?" he says yes. "I'm sure. I want this. I want you. Forever." In May 2030, Isabelle begins preparing for the transformation. Researches techniques. Consults with other vampires. There aren't many, they're solitary creatures, but she knows a few. Learns what she needs to do. Transformation requires 3 days. The vampire drinks from the human until they're nearly dead. Then feeds the human vampire blood. Then the human's body shuts down and rebuilds itself. 3 days of agony as cells die and regenerate as vampire cells. Success rate is about 70%. 30% of humans die during transformation. Their bodies can't handle the change. Isabelle tells Marcus this. You could die. There's a real risk. I know. I accept it. Marcus, I'm serious. If you die during transformation, I'll never forgive myself. And if I don't die, we'll have centuries together. That's worth the risk. June 15th, 2030. Marcus's 30th birthday. They celebrate quietly. Dinner at a restaurant, cake at home, gifts exchanged. Isabelle gives him a first edition of Faulcon's memoirs. Marcus gives her a painting, a modern abstract of a dancer in motion. It's us, Marcus explains. The dancer that never stops moving. That's you. It's beautiful. That night, in their apartment, Marcus says, I'm ready. Transform me. Isabelle looks at him, 30 years old today, at the absolute peak of his dancing career, about to give up his mortality for her. For them. 4 centuries of dancing. Together. Are you absolutely certain? I've never been more certain of anything. Once we start, there's no stopping. You'll be in agony for 3 days. You might not survive. And if you do survive, you'll be 30 years old forever. You'll watch everyone you know age and die. Your family. Your friends. Anyone who isn't me. I know. I accept all of it. Isabelle, I love you. I want eternity with you. Transform me. Isabelle takes a breath she doesn't need. All right. We'll do it tomorrow night. I need to prepare. And Marcus, say goodbye to your family. To your human life. After tomorrow, everything changes. The next day, Marcus calls his parents. His sister. Tells them he loves them. Doesn't tell them why. They think he's just being sentimental on his birthday. That evening, June 16, 2030, Isabelle prepares their bedroom. Black curtains to block all light. Medical supplies in case something goes wrong. Blood bags for after. The transformation. She's methodical. Professional. Trying not to think about the fact that she's about to kill and remake the man she loves. Last chance to back out, Isabelle says at midnight. Not backing out. Marcus, I need you to understand something. If you die during this process, I won't recover. I've lived 191 years. I've survived wars and losses, and centuries of loneliness. But if I kill you trying to transform you, that will break me permanently. So please, please be sure. I'm sure. Do it. Isabelle guides Marcus to the bed. He lies down. She sits beside him. I'm going to drink from you first. A lot. Until you're at the edge of death. Then I'll feed you my blood. Then your body will shut down and rebuild itself as vampire. It will take 3 days. You'll be in more pain than you've ever experienced. You'll probably scream. You might beg me to kill you. I won't. I'll stay with you through all of it. Do you understand? I understand. Any last words as a human? Marcus takes her hand. I love you. I'll love you forever. However long forever is. Forever is a very long time. I hope you still love me in 1,000 years. I will. Isabelle leans down, kisses him gently. Then she bites. Her fangs, which she keeps retracted most of the time, extend. Pierce Marcus's neck. His blood flows into her mouth. Warm, alive, human. She drinks deeply. More than she's ever taken from anyone. Marcus's heartbeat slows. His breathing becomes shallow. His body goes cold. Just before he dies, Isabelle pulls back, bites her own wrist, holds it to Marcus's lips. Drink. Marcus, barely conscious, drinks. Vampire blood, dark, thick, ancient, flows into him. 3 swallows. 4. 5. Then Isabelle pulls away. The transformation has begun. Marcus convulses. His body is rejecting the vampire blood, trying to purge it. But it's too late. The blood is already rewriting his cells, changing him from human to something else. He screams. Isabelle holds him, whispers comfort he probably can't hear. I'm here. I'm not leaving. You're going to survive this. 3 days, Marcus. Just 3 days. The first night is the worst. Marcus's body is dying. His heart beats erratically. Fast, then slow, then stops entirely for minutes at a time before starting again. His temperature drops to near freezing. His breathing becomes so shallow it's almost imperceptible. And the pain. He screams until his voice goes hoarse. Thrashes until Isabelle has to restrain him so he doesn't hurt himself. Begs her to kill him, to end it, to make it stop. Isabelle doesn't. She stays. Holds him. Waits. Day 2 is quieter. Marcus stops screaming. His body is shutting down completely. Isabelle checks for a pulse. It's there, but barely. 2 beats per minute. Vampire heartbeat. She stays beside him. Doesn't sleep. She never sleeps. Doesn't leave. Just watches. And waits and prays to gods she stopped believing in a century ago that Marcus survives. Day 3. Marcus's body starts to change visibly. His skin pales. His features sharpen slightly. His teeth ache as fangs begin to form. His eyes, when he opens them briefly, are darker than before. At sunset on the third day, Marcus stops convulsing. His breathing evens out. His heartbeat stabilizes at the slow vampire rhythm. His eyes open fully, dark brown, but with a slight reddish tint now. Isabelle, I'm here. How do you feel? Everything hurts. And everything is too loud. Too bright. Too much. That's normal. Your senses are enhanced now. It takes time to adjust. Marcus sits up slowly. Looks at his hands. Paler than before, stronger than before. Looks at Isabelle. Did it work? Am I? You're a vampire. The transformation was successful. I'm alive. In a manner of speaking. You're immortal now. You'll never age. Never die of natural causes. Never be fully alive in the way you were. But yes, you survived. Marcus stands, unsteady, walks to the mirror, stares at his reflection. He still appears in mirrors, that's myth, but he looks different. Sharper, paler, other. I look like I'm dead. You are dead. Technically. Your heart barely beats. You don't breathe normally. Your body is preserved in a state between life and death. That's vampirism. And I'll look like this forever? Forever. 30 years old. No matter how many centuries pass. Marcus touches his face, his neck where Isabelle bit him. The wound has healed completely. No scar. Vampire healing. What now? Now you learn to be a vampire. How to feed. How to control your strength. How to pass as human. How to live with enhanced senses. It takes time. Years, probably. Will I still be able to dance? Yes. Better than before, actually. Vampire bodies are stronger, faster, more flexible. You'll be the perfect dancer now. Like me. Marcus turns from the mirror. Isabelle, did I make the right choice? And there it is. The question Isabelle has been dreading. The doubt that always comes after transformation. The regret that might take years or decades or centuries to fully manifest, but which starts right now, in this moment. I don't know, Isabelle answers honestly. Ask me again in 100 years. The first year of Marcus's vampirism is hard. Harder than either of them expected. He has to learn to feed, at first from blood bags, later from ethical sources. To learn to control his strength. He accidentally breaks things constantly, doesn't yet understand how powerful he is. Has to learn to hide his nature, the pale skin, the cold touch, the fact that he doesn't age. And he has to learn to dance as a vampire. His first class back, in August 2030, is revelatory. His extensions are higher. His jumps are effortless. His turns are perfectly centered. The technique that took him 20 years to develop is now augmented by supernatural ability. This is incredible, Marcus says after class. I can do things I could never do before. Triple pirouettes are easy. Grand jetés feel like flying. That's vampire enhancement. Your body is stronger and more durable now. It's not fair. All those years I struggled to perfect my technique, and now it's just easy. Where's the art in that? The art is in the interpretation. Technique is just the tool. You still have to make it mean something. Marcus performs in September 2030, his first performance as a vampire. He dances Albrecht in Giselle. And he's perfect, technically flawless. Every step precise. Every line exact. But something is missing. The humanity. The vulnerability. The quality that made him special as a mortal dancer. You were technically perfect, Isabelle tells him after. But you didn't feel anything. You just executed steps. Because I don't feel the way I used to. Everything is muted. Like there's a wall between me and my emotions. That's vampirism. We feel things differently than humans. Less intensely. More distantly. It's one of the costs of immortality. Will it get better? No. It gets worse. The longer you live, the more disconnected you become. I've been warning you about this for years. Marcus is frustrated. Angry. You made it sound like I'd keep my humanity. That I'd just be immortal. You didn't tell me I'd lose my emotions. I did tell you. You didn't believe me. Because I was in love. I thought love would be enough. Love is never enough, Marcus. Not against eternity. They fight. A lot. In that first year, they fight constantly. About transformation. About dancing. About the fact that Marcus is struggling with immortality in exactly the ways Isabelle predicted. But they stay together. Because they're bound now. Both immortal. Both trapped in eternal youth. Both dancers who will never age. By 2035, 5 years after transformation, Marcus has adapted. He's learned to feel again, or at least to fake feeling. His dancing has regained its artistry. He's one of the great dancers of his generation, performing at a level that would be impossible for a mortal body. And he's watching his human friends age. His mortal colleagues from before the transformation are 35 now. Starting to slow down. Beginning the decline. That leads to retirement. Marcus looks 30. Will always look 30. This is strange, Marcus tells Isabelle one evening. Watching people I danced with 5 years ago get older while I don't. They're developing arthritis. I'm more flexible than ever. Welcome to vampirism. This is what I've been living for 196 years. How do you stand it? I don't. I endure it. There's a difference. In 2040, 10 years after transformation, Marcus's parents die. Both of them, within months of each other. They were elderly, in their 70s, and they died naturally. But Marcus couldn't be at their funerals. Too risky. Too many questions about why he still looks 35. I couldn't say goodbye to my own parents, Marcus says, devastated. Couldn't be there when they died. Couldn't attend their funerals. Because I'm a fucking vampire. I know. I'm sorry. You warned me about this. You said I'd watch everyone I loved die. I didn't believe how much it would hurt. It doesn't get easier. I've lost hundreds of people. Every loss still hurts. Then why do you keep going? Why keep existing if it's all just loss and grief? Because of dancing. Because there are moments, rare moments, where the art transcends. The suffering. Where a perfect performance makes immortality bearable. That's all I have. That's all any of us have. Marcus buries himself in dance. Performs constantly. Becomes known as one of the greatest dancers of the 21st century. And he doesn't age. Year after year, he stays 30, while the world changes around him. By 2050, 20 years after transformation, Marcus and Isabelle have to leave New York. Too many people have noticed they don't age. Too many questions. Too much risk. They move to Paris. Isabelle's original home, where she danced in the 1860s before her transformation. They joined the Paris Opera Ballet under new identities. Each perform occasionally. Live quietly. We'll have to do this every few decades, Isabelle explains. Move, create new identities, start over. That's the vampire life. Constant reinvention. I hate it. I'm tired of lying. Tired of hiding. You've only been doing it for 20 years. I've been doing it for 178. You'll get used to it. Will I? Or will I just get more tired? Isabelle doesn't answer. Because the truth is, Yes, he'll get more tired. That's what happens with immortality. The weight accumulates. Every decade heavier than the last. Until you're carrying centuries of exhaustion and you don't remember what it felt like to not be tired. In 2060, 30 years after transformation, Marcus says, I regret it. They're in their Paris apartment, watching the sun set over the Seine. Marcus is 60 years old chronologically, 30 physically, 30 years a vampire. Regret what? Isabelle asks, though she knows. Transformation. Becoming immortal. I thought I wanted eternity with you. But Isabelle, I didn't understand. I didn't understand what eternity meant. What it would cost. What I'd lose. I know. I warned you. Warnings don't prepare you for reality. I've lost everyone. My parents. My siblings. My friends. Everyone I knew from my human life is dead or dying. And I'm still here. Still 30. Still dancing. Still trapped. That's immortality. That's what I tried to tell you. Do you regret turning me? Isabelle considers. Every day. Because I love you and I hate seeing you suffer. But also no. Because at least you're here. At least I'm not alone. Even if you resent me for it. I don't resent you. I resent immortality. I resent vampirism. I resent the fact that I'll never die and never be free and never escape this endless existence. Have you tried to kill yourself? Yes. Multiple times. It doesn't work. I'm too durable. Too immortal. I can't even die when I want to. I know. I've tried to. Hundreds of times across nearly 2 centuries. We're both trapped, Marcus. That's the curse. Not that we live forever. But that we can't die. When we're ready. They sit in silence, watching darkness fall over Paris. 2 immortal dancers, both. Trapped in bodies that won't age, minds that have outlived their capacity for joy. In 2070, 40 years after transformation, Marcus stops dancing. Not because his body fails, it can't. But because he's emotionally exhausted. 200 years old. Chronologically, Isabelle is 241, 70 years old in actual lived years, 40 years a vampire. I'm done, Marcus tells Isabelle. I don't want to dance anymore. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just executing movements. There's no joy in it. No purpose. So what will you do? I don't know. Exist. Endure. Wait for something to kill me since I can't kill myself. Isabelle understands. She's been there. The point where existence becomes endurance. Where you stop living and start merely not dying. Do you still love me? Isabelle asks. I don't know. I don't know if I'm capable of love anymore. I think vampirism took that from me. Or maybe just time did. 200 years of existence has worn away. Everything that made me human. I don't know what I am anymore. You're Marcus Chen. You're a dancer. You're the man I loved enough to transform. I was those things. Now I'm just old. Despite Lukig 30. 2080. 50 years after transformation. Marcus is 250 years old chronologically, 80 years actual age, 50 years a vampire. Isabelle is 251. They're still together. Still in Paris. Still pretending to be human while being fundamentally other. And Marcus finally says it, I don't want to exist anymore. I'm not suicidal. I'm just done. I've lived enough. Experienced enough. Lost enough. I want to stop. I know, Isabelle says. I've felt that way for 150 years. Does it ever get better? No. It gets worse. Every year heavier than the last. Until you forget what it felt like to not be carrying the weight of centuries. Then why do you keep going? Because I don't have a choice. Neither do you. We're immortal. We can't die. We can only endure. Marcus looks at her, the woman he loved enough to give up his mortality for. The woman who warned him and whom he didn't believe. The woman who's been carrying this weight for 2.5 centuries and will carry it for centuries more. I'm sorry, Marcus says. I'm sorry I didn't listen. I'm sorry I asked you to transform me. I'm sorry I'm making you watch me suffer through immortality the way you've suffered through it. I'm sorry too. Sorry I agreed to transform you. Sorry I was selfish enough to want you with me forever. Sorry I condemned you to this. They hold each other. Two immortal dancers. Two people who loved each other enough to try to transcend mortality. Two vampires learning that some things can't be transcended. That eternity isn't a gift. That forever is just another word for trapped.